Welcome everyone to Breaking Barriers Network to Get Work, the latest installment in our Black Leadership, Ambition, Collective Knowledge, and Success career conversation series in partnership with Black Mentorship Inc, Sheridan's career integrated learning services, and Sheridan alumni. My name is Tristan Pennock, and I'm a current Sheridan student in the Honors Bachelor of Community Safety program, as well as a student leader by way of peer mentoring and student leadership coaching. Thank you for joining us. As we gather virtually, we would like to acknowledge that all of our Sheridan campuses reside on land that has been and still is the traditional territory of several indigenous nations, including the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Wendat, the Métis, and the Mississaugas credit of the First Nation. Since time immemorable, numerous indigenous nations and indigenous peoples have lived and passed through this territory. We recognize this territory is covered by the Dish of One Spoon Treaty and the Two-Row Wampum Treaty, which has emphasized the importance of joint stewardship, peace, and respectful relationships. As you may be joining us from different territories, we acknowledge the many diverse nations and territories you are joining us from. Sheridan affirms it is our collective responsibility to honor and respect those who have gone before us, those who are here, and those who have yet to come. We are grateful for the opportunity to be learning, working, living, and thriving on this land. Tonight, you will hear from successful Sheridan alumni about their experiences and success stories. You will learn about the importance of advancing the dialogue to break down barriers of employment and career success, and understanding the value of networking. I look forward to more of these events, even throughout the year, as we continue to create safe spaces where diverse experiences are welcomed, valued, and respected. Our moderator tonight is Evangeline Chima, the founder and executive director of Black Mentorship Inc, or BMI. Our organization is dedicated to fostering the professional growth and professional expansion of Black professionals in Canada. BMI strives to create an inclusive world where where every Black person reaches personal and professional empowerment through education, mentorship, and skills building. The mission for BMI is to ensure Black professionals have a safe space to learn without fear of being judged, to fill in the gaps, and to offer Black people personal and professional support throughout our mentorship program. Please join me in welcoming Evangeline Chima. Welcome, Evangeline.
Thank you, Tristan. Good evening, everyone. Do you believe effective networking can directly, positively impact your personal and professional life? Do you believe networking done right can accelerate your career advancement or save you in a time of cutbacks and layoffs? Many, I think there is an echo. So, sorry about that, but I think there is an echo. Okay, I'll try again. Many professionals go about networking the wrong manner, often tying it closely to job search and transition, thus tending to the network only if and when looking for their next job positions. We will hear from experts who understand the breadth of connections with the right people willing to recommend you to their network, how it can positively impact propelling your success. Welcome, panelists. Before we begin, a few crucial elements or housekeeping rules. We will start by asking our panelists questions. When we finish the panel questions, we will open the Q&A window for questions you would like the panelists to address. Please type in your questions in the stage chat. Your student host, Tristan, will be working diligently to relay your questions to the panelists. Okay, so let's jump right into it. I will ask the panelists to say hello and use a few seconds to please introduce themselves and tell us what role networking has played in their career. In no order, Melissa, allow me to start with you. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Thomas. I graduated from the HR management program in 2014. I currently now work for Rexall Pharmacy Group, which you guys all might be familiar with. I work as an HR business partner, and I am very excited to talk to you all today. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. How everybody doing? My name is Mark Stoddard. I consider myself more of a visual communicator. I'm a freelancer, illustrator, and designer, and also a professor at Sheridan College. I graduated in 1992, so that's some years back, but we won't count the age, but yeah, I've been around for a while. But yeah, I'm here to tell my story. Your mic is still, oops. You're on mute. She doesn't.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. I was saying that I must apologize. I think the echoing was coming from my own end, but I've rectified what the problem was. So hi, everybody. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mark. To begin, Melissa, I'm going to start asking you this first question. And basically, in your opinion, how important is networking to an individual's job search and career development, particularly during this current pandemic?
That's for me, right? For Melissa?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So I always tell people networking is very important, especially right now during the pandemic. I know it's a little bit more difficult to network, but when it comes to looking for a job, it really depends on who you know. And I'll say that just because majority of the jobs I've had up until this point were because of the people that I knew. Networking can be with anybody. It could be with people you meet from childhood. So if you were into activities growing up, churches, things of that nature where you meet people, keep those contacts near to you, because you never know when they'll come up to you, come back around, as well as if you do have jobs that you've done in the past, maybe it's a part-time job or a quick little side job that you have done, keep those contacts, because you never know who you're going to come back into contact with in the future. So very important to answer your question.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Keeping your network, people you've known all your life close to you does help. But let me come back to you on that, because as you know, we have a whole lot of students tuning in this evening to hear from you. So what would you say to students? How will they address the 5 W's of networking? So for example, who should they start asking? What to say, how to approach contacts, when to approach their contacts, and how often. So I'm sure that the students are wondering, where do I start?
Yeah. So in terms of who to contact, like I said before, keeping those connects from activities that you've had in the past. Even your teachers are good connects to have. I know I still keep in contact with a lot of the professors that I went to school with at Sheridan as well too. If we're talking about virtual world now, I know there's a lot of virtual networking events that you can attend. For example, for me in HR, there is actually a Black HR Association where they have virtual networking events once a month, where you can definitely go. If you're a little bit shy in the beginning, that's fine. But it's good to kind of meet people who are in a similar field as you, and hear from them and see how their career has progressed, and keep those contacts as well too. So LinkedIn is a great place to network when we're talking about social media. Also, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there is this new platform called Clubhouse. I don't know how familiar with you people are, but it's pretty new. It's not necessarily for work. However, I do find that it's great for networking as well too, with people all around the world. So if you are passionate about something, you can always put that in your profile and follow groups that kind of have similar interests as you as well too, and get conversations going. It's a platform where you can literally just talk to people. So it's great. You don't have to meet face to face if you're a little bit shy. You can literally just talk and have people listen to you and also give you ideas, feedback, and once again, keep those contacts. So that's where I would say to start with the where, especially in this virtual world. Online is a great way to do that.
You know, I am constantly on LinkedIn. And so when you mentioned that, I said, yes, that's one. And it's good to hear there is a new one, Clubhouse. And, you know, we want to go on LinkedIn. Personal branding is so key, you know. So, Mark, I'm going to come with you on this one. What advice do you have for students who are looking to create their networking elevator pitch? How do they incorporate their personal brand value proposition into this often 3-minute speech?
Wow, 3-minute speech. It's the still approach to me personally is it's your story. And I think you articulating what you're about and your purpose behind your brand will speak volumes for people to remember you by. And I think that personal business card at the end of that conversation you have with that 3-minute speech you have with someone on the elevator will kind of allow them to know that this is a person who has a lot of integrity. They speak with a lot of confidence. So there's a lot of layers to that. But I think building that kind of relationship in the beginning stages when you're talking to somebody and showing that you're about something about who you are will definitely create that person to think about you in the years to come. But just to piggyback what you was talking about with the relationship building kind of stuff, I always feel that it's important just to really be confident in who you are, because it goes a very, very long way of showing what you're about and what you want to give of service of who you are. Because again, as a business person, you're giving a service of who you are, right? So that's the selling point behind all this, is like how comfortable you are in the skin that you're in and what you're selling.
You know, Mark, often we say that and we talk about confidence. And I know that I've often had people say, how do I begin to build this confidence around myself? What would you say to that question?
I'm one of those kind of guys that it's affirmations. I think that you really got to start building that self-confidence in yourself. So I'm all about affirmations, those I ams. So it's like saying I am confident, I am bold, I'm passionate. If you start building in those affirmations within yourself, you start growing into those things. You become those words. I think that's a great start. Each morning is like a regiment for myself, is just really thinking those things and believing that those will become and manifest those things. So I think that's the first stage of building your confidence, definitely. And then practice. It's like with any sports, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it to get better at it. Then you'll see the results from that, right? And sticking it out. There's going to be some hard times when it comes to this world of business, right? You're going to have some heartaches, but the sooner you got to stick it out and just believe in who you are.
I agree with you. Melissa, I'm going to come to you for the second question. Some have suggested that networking is a powerful tool for supporting individuals with navigating and possibly overcoming diverse barriers to employment. As you know, as a person of color, as a Black woman, that's usually true. So what are your thoughts around that?
I would say networking is definitely very important. Sorry, Evangeline, can you repeat that question one more time for me?
Sure. So some have suggested that networking is a powerful tool for supporting individuals to navigate around barriers, racism, challenges to employment. And I would like to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So when it comes to it being a tool to kind of combat things like that, I definitely feel like yes and no. It could be for sure, especially when we're in a kind of like a very, with everything that has happened in the past year when it comes to Black individuals, and really just noticing the shift that has come from the movements that have happened in the past few years and the past year, sorry. I do really believe that networking is something that will shape us all as a community, not just Black people, but as minorities as well. And it's something that we need to do to kind of break out of our shells as minorities as well too. So definitely something that we need to continue to do for our people, as well as just to make sure that we are continuing to see that growth when it comes to our students, as well as the generations coming up in the future.
You're absolutely right. With the pandemic and everything that has happened, sticking together is so important. Reaching out to your friends, families, your allies is definitely key to staying afloat and staying strong and being able to navigate those often challenging, perhaps work. So Mark, I would like to get your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, definitely allyship is a key component of where we stand to move forward, pushing the needle forward. Those check-ins, especially with your strong friends, those are the ones you think that they're good, but sometimes they're not. So it's always those call-ins to see how everybody's doing. And then the networking is all about collaboration. How can you align yourself with other organizations that can be an assistance and both leverage your both skill sets? It's so important. But again, all behind all this is about making those phone calls, being comfortable and reaching in those spaces to kind of build those relationships to move forward. It's been interesting summer for like last year with the whole Black Lives Matter and everything else and the shift. But you still, like I said, finding the people who support who you are, your brand, and actually allowing you to kind of showcase who you are in a bigger light or a bigger platform is a great tool to be a part of, because you never know when your number is going to be called for big projects to happen, right? So when that does come, you just got to be prepared to be ready to actually show people what you're about. But again, it all comes back down to, again, it's networking. How do you get about reaching the right people to actually be in those spaces and actually let people know what you're about?
I like what you said, showcase who you are. And I've had you repeat that quite a bit tonight. And also, be ready to tell people who you are. And so my next question to you, Mark, why do you think this is important? And how can we use dialogue to break down racial barriers?
Great question. For myself, and we all are blessed in our artistic journeys that we all are storytellers. So it's the ability of what is it that you're going to convey that impacts people's lives. There's a quote that I like that is from Indigenous quote. Is tell me the facts and I'll learn. Tell me truth and I believe. But if you tell me your story, it will live in my heart forever. So if you're really intentional behind your actions and allowing people to actually understand why you're doing this with the right intention to change or pushing the needle forward, like I said, you will definitely change people's lives in the right way and leaving an impact, a legacy behind what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, why are we doing this stuff? Why are we making these initial changes in the world? Because we want to leave a legacy. You want to change the world for a better place. Because where it is now, we need to make those initial steps to make it better for the next generation, because that's what it's all about. It's that change, not for us, but for the next generation to come up, because we stand on shoulders of giants, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A whole lot of people made it possible for us to be here. And so we have to pay it forward. And with that, I'm actually going to go back a little bit and come back to getting started, really. Melissa, what are your top two do's and don'ts of networking?
For do's, I think I would say, for me personally, I know starting out, I know we briefly spoke about the confidence thing. But back to that, I used to be a very shy, timid person. And when it came to people saying you need to talk to people and build your network, I'd be like, okay, I don't know where to even start with that. But don't be afraid. I know it's easier said than done, and that's coming from someone who used to be very shy. But don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You can practice. I know I did a lot when I was back in Sheridan. I did a lot of practicing online, just talking to myself, to feel more comfortable having those conversations, and don't feel like you're overselling yourself. Tell people everything that you have to offer. Take every interaction that you have with people as a time to sell yourself. So whether it just be a conversation that you're having with someone, you can always slip in something that you do on the side so that they know that, okay, if something ever comes up, I can definitely reach out to this person. Also, I like to tell students this as well too. I know when you're coming up and you have your part-time jobs, take them seriously as well too, because those are, once again, connects that might come back in the future as well too. So definitely, if you have a part-time job at McDonald's, or if you're like, this is just going to be a 3-month co-op, because I did a co-op with Sheridan as well too, take those things very seriously, because the industry is very small. People talk as well too. So people will definitely be talking about you when jobs come up again as well too. So just take things seriously, I would say, in your beginning stages of networking. And you should be good. You should be able to succeed if you have those things in mind. Once again, the confidence is key, and it takes time. So don't feel like you have to be the most confident person if that's not your personality, but work on it and you'll definitely get there.
You're so right on, Melissa. I love all that you have just said. Don't minimize yourself. Love that. Take your part-time job seriously. I'll add volunteering as well, because oftentimes people think, oh, I'm not getting paid, so it's just volunteer. But you're saying take that seriously. Practice in front of the mirror, practice in front of your computer. I oftentimes I have to stay in front of my computer and I speak to myself and laugh at myself. So completely agree with you right there. And Mark, any tips that you want to share as well?
Don't be afraid to fail, right? Because the best thing about when you fall, you got to get back up and do it again. Just to add on to that, I think everybody's journey is going to be different, but what you learn in those stages is there's going to be transferable skills that you can apply to the next thing. You will never know that this job, like, why am I doing this? But you realize those little small increments to those positions will make you understand why you're here in the next stage of your life. Because leaving my year of graduating, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. And I was just trying to find my way. But the one thing that still resided to me that I always wanted to tell stories, and I still had the entrepreneurial spirit. So that hustle was always inside of me. So whatever that fire is inside of you, you just got to tap into it and don't allow it to diminish that shine, that light within you, and just keep persevering. There's going to be some naysayers around the way, but you just that should be your fuel. That should be the stuff that gets you going the way to prove them wrong, that what you want to be doing, you got to believe in it and hold on to that light, because it definitely will see the end of that tunnel of what you have and what you accomplish along the way. And the next thing I say for networking, persevere. Perseverance is the key thing behind this. And like I said, if you got that and you believe in what you have and you network and you get the no's, but you get out of all those no's, you'll get that one yes. So you just gotta believe on that craft. And like I said, just stick it out, weather the storm, weather the storm. There's only a few of us are gonna make it through it, right? But you gotta be that person that believes that I'm gonna be that person, right? This is why we're here. We're trying to inspire you guys here, right? You guys to believe that what you guys have is a gift that you want the world to see.
Ah, that is so true. Perseverance. Oftentimes, people tend to get discouraged when they reach out to somebody, maybe through LinkedIn. You send message, you send connection request, and you don't hear anything. You don't hear anything. So it's so important, Mark, that you're talking about that perseverance. So it only takes that one yes, one
It
yes.
does. I'll give you an example. I'll tell you a story that happened to me, and it's through Instagram. Because it's like Instagram, especially with social media now, with what was happening with COVID and everything else, everybody was on their phones. So as a business person, let me just throw, like you said, slide in the DMs. I was just sending out notes to particular celebrities, whatever it is, just to see if they will react to what I have to present. And then there's one person in particular. His name is Francis Maxwell. He's an online personality, and he was had a good relationship, or still has, with Colin Kaepernick, the football player who did the demonstration for the NFL of Black police brutality that was happening. And I always wanted to meet Colin Kaepernick, but who am I to get Colin Kaepernick? But this particular person knows him very well. So I sent him a DM, told him who I was. He never really responded to what I was all about until I sent him a care package. It's all about giving products. So when I sent him the care package, he reacts, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." Later on in the years to come, I work with I have a good relationship with one of my icons, my mentor. And so he didn't know that I knew him. And so when he put the connections together, he wanted to meet my mentor. And I'm like, okay, if you want to meet my mentor, I need to meet Colin Kaepernick. And so we put that kind of as a meetings of the minds, and we were able to meet at the same time in New York City. And I got to meet Colin Kaepernick. He got to meet my mentor. And it's like one of those surreal moments. But what I'm getting at with the story, I'm speeding it up very fast, but you never know to what you put yourself out there, your calling card, and what you have to offer. And like I said, you may get some of those no's, but you get to that one yes. And I got the opportunity to meet the person that I wanted to meet, and he got to meet somebody who I had. So short story, but I kind of just want to try and get at that. You just got to persevere. Things will happen.
That's true. That's really true. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Alicia, can you please tell us about any memorable experience you've had as well?
I would say for me, networking, I briefly touched on this as well in the beginning. But like I said, all of my jobs were due to me knowing somebody. And I can't really speak to, or I can. So through LinkedIn, it can be difficult networking with people. I won't lie to you. A lot of the times, and I won't lie, sometimes I do this as well too. You get a lot of messages and sometimes you just can't answer. So like we were saying in the past, just be persistent with it. But there's always going to be that one person who's gonna answer you. And back to my story about how I've been networking through. So I started off my career actually through Sheridan. So we had to do a co-op to graduate. So I was fortunate enough to actually get the first interview that I had. I got the job after that first interview, which doesn't normally happen. And to say that as well too, networking is like interviews. So if you don't get the first job that you do an interview for, take that as a learning experience as well too, because like networking, you're not always going to get called back or get a response from people. So take it as practice. But after my co-op, I was fortunate to meet a bunch of people that I worked with. And that's why I said, again, to take your co-op seriously, because you never know how somebody else can help you out. I work in the retail industry. The retail industry is very small. People know each other. And that's how I ended up getting my current job at Rexall. So definitely through knowing people. I'm also a part of the HRPA. So there's a lot of different, the HRPA is actually the HR Professional Association. So there's a bunch of different associations that are definitely there to support you as well too. They do have networking events that I do encourage you all to go to. your field does have a professional association. They do cost money. However, there is some great payback from it as well for you and your career as well too. And sometimes you're lucky enough to actually get to attend free events as well. Once again, great place to meet people. I did meet a girl that also did work with that works with me now, that actually helped me get my job as well too. So if you can join an association, do so. Attend their events if they have them. They definitely do, in this virtual world, still have virtual events as well too. So definitely a great way to keep your networks up and kind of meet people in your field as well.
That was really, really, really good. I learned something today. Networking is like interview. So don't expect a call back, as bad as that sounds, really, because when you go for interview, you want them to reach back to you. But the reality of our day, it doesn't often happen that way. So be prepared not to hear back from them, but keep going, keep being persistent. Thank you, Melissa, for that. Pandemic response. We're in pandemic, so we cannot discuss networking, discuss breaking barriers without talking about our world today. So, Mark, how have COVID exposed barriers in perhaps your work? What has remained the same? What has changed?
Wow. What has changed? For me, I have to admit, my world is, I'm an introvert, as much as people won't believe, but I like to stay in my shell. I'm all in my world. So when COVID happened, to me, it's like a vacation, because I wasn't by myself anyways, right? So, but it allowed me to, guess now, networking now on the social media. Like I was never Zoom, this type of medium. It was never that kind of person, but you learn to adjust or pivot. That's the key word that they said now. It's like, how are you adjusting to this climates? And so I always feel like in this position of business, like how do you adapt? So because this is the world we're in right now. It's not going to change. So you just got to learn to be more creative and figuring out how to motivate, inspire people in this medium. So that has I've learned from that, and even becoming a professor at Sheridan College now, I'm teaching, and it's not it's virtually. My first year coming to the school and teaching, now I'm teaching online. It's like it was the weirdest thing, but it was a learning curve that I was able to adjust to and adapt. So I don't know if I mentioned your question. I think that part of it with COVID, and then the next part is that as a business person, as a business owner, I realized that my social online aspect for me was pretty good. People now were tending to buy or support me online in the morning instead of going to virtual or going to physical events. Everything's more virtual, and just to see the support from the community as a whole was interesting. So I think the key word I'm getting with all this is what you're asking is just learning how to adapt, because this world is like it's shifting, and you have to learn to pivot and be adapting to pivot and moving to different directions, right?
You know, that is so true. Adapting, being ready to shift, being limitless is all of the things that I have found this period to be. And that's what it has taught me too. Always be ready to change your way of doing things. If you think you've mastered it today, tomorrow may be different. And so, Melissa, I'm going to ask you the same thing. What do you think, what do you predict will be the future of professional life?
Well, working in HR, first of all, I just want to say, you never know how much HR is needed until a pandemic hits, because our whole organization really depended on us during the pandemic. And a lot of change has happened. For example, everything is now online. I remember back in the day, if people were like, let's do a video chat, we'd be like, hey, no, I'm not going on camera. But now it's like, you have to go on camera for everything. So definitely a new shift of being available and ready to be on camera at any time of the day. In terms of how the pandemic has kind of shifted the way that we network, I've said it many times before, we're going to have to continue to do things online now. And it's difficult. It's definitely difficult because we used to be doing it where you'd be able to see people face to face and have those conversations. Whereas now you have to kind of do a little bit more work. Whereas now you have to be going on LinkedIn, looking up people, looking up job titles that you might want, and things like that. So it does put a little bit more work on us, but it is worth it. And you never know. You never know, like we said before, who's going to contact you back. So the work that you put in is definitely worth it. So don't feel like you're putting in work for nothing. And yeah.
I was just thinking, you know, as a student, I'm not a student, but I'm just trying to wear the hat of a student. I've had all of you, I've had you, Melissa and Mark, you talk about networking and how important it is to put yourself out there. And I'm wondering, where can I start? I'm all pumped up today. I want to start doing that networking, but just walk me through perhaps step by step and on how I can get ready and start getting myself out there.
I would say, do you want to go, Mark? I can go for
Ladies first.
Okay. I would say first and foremost, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, to get on LinkedIn immediately. Another thing I would say for networking, look at job titles that you are interested in, or maybe businesses that you're interested in, and find key important people who hold job titles that you are looking or aspiring to. And when you're networking, I wouldn't say, don't go into the conversation thinking, oh, your message shouldn't be, I'm looking for a job. I think your message should be, I just graduated from so-and-so college. I saw that you work in the same field that I graduated from. I was wondering if maybe I could sit with you for maybe 5 minutes and discuss how you got to your career, and things like that. So just take it, don't jump into it as I want a job, jump into it as I want to get more information. So don't feel like you have to start off the conversation begging or looking for a job. More so take it as a learning experience. So you're networking with these people to get more understanding of their career path and maybe get some ideas from them as well too.
That's a good one. More information, hear their story, get to know them, build that relationship, and then gradually go into, do you have any opening?
Exactly.
I completely agree. Mark, any tips you can share?
Yeah, just to anchor that, definitely being of service of community work, whatever that organization is, and just giving up your time. You never know when you put that time in that opportunity presents itself. You might get a full-time job within that organization, right? Also, when the LinkedIn component, don't be afraid of using the other social media platforms like the Facebooks, Instagram. I'm not a TikTok kind of person, but these are the new shifts that are happening, right? But it's all about how you present yourself. And then the question is when you have those pages, what is it that you're putting out there? What's going to be the words? What's going to be your mission statement, your brand statement, things that are important to people, those key moments that people can read into and want to investigate what you're about. Have your links working? All the things that will benefit you to show that the person looks at your page, because your page is always going to be on 24 hours a day. So having your own personal website, the LinkedIn, Facebook, all those mediums or those pages or platforms. And the thing about all those pages, they're free. You don't have to spend any money. You just got to take a nice, good photo of yourself and start selling yourself. You never know. But again, come back to all this conversation, is sticking it out and persevere and just building your story and be consistent with it. Consistent. And then eventually you'll see the people or the audience or the people you're trying to approach will start seeing you for who you are.
Mark, you just hit the nail on the head when you say consistency is key. But also you said, remember your page is on 24 hours a day. And we often tend to forget that. And so that is why it's so important. We are very careful. We should be very careful what we put out there. I'm looking at the time and I just want to do a quick check-in with Tristan. How are we doing with questions from our audience and participants?
Doing well. It's looking like we are getting a few questions in. The first, I actually have a question here for Mark. So, Mark, could you please tell us about co-designing the Black Lives Matter tribute apparel worn by the Toronto Raptors, and how did it feel to use art and sports to activism to galvanize audiences across the world for a common goal?
Wow, good question. It was an honor. It was a position to be called upon at this time as a person that's always been an activist from a very young age. And I kind of guess the stuff I was always been doing, has always been consistent telling stories to change through clothing. And having the Raptors reach out to me to be a part of their alignment of making that kind of statement within the bubble last year within the Raptors. And myself and Amy and other artists, we co-created some of the branding for the Raptors, and allowing to see the players wear my product was kind of surreal as an artist to know that you're making that change, not your art's making that change, and and seeing the level of how people gravitate to it and wanted to support that, and how Masai, the general manager of the Raptors, kind of put that to the forefront for the players to speak to, and allowing the garment to be that kind of gets the selling point of allowing them to speak, because something you don't have to say anything, is what you wear kind of says it as much as well. And what was great with that is like last week, they donated a lot of money to an organization which I'm involved with back to the community. So everything comes full circle. So just to answer the question again, is that having as an artist, you never know how you impact people's lives, man. So I'm just thankful this is be a part of making history like that.
That's amazing, Mark. I can imagine there must be a great sense of pride that comes from that, being able to see your art displayed on such a massive scale, and knowing that it represents something that you stand so proudly for. Thank you for that. So for my second question, Melissa, as an HR professional, how is the workforce advancing? How is the workforce advancing in helping Black professionals overcome barriers of employment and career success?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've definitely seen a huge shift in the past year when it comes to Black professionals. I can speak on my organization, but I do want to say as well too, I've seen quite a few postings for jobs come up where they are looking for diversity and inclusion members to help support with diversity and inclusion within the workforce. And those types of roles are put in place to ensure that we are supporting our people of color and making sure that they do have what they need to overcome any barriers. When I speak about my organization, we definitely did a complete change this past year. We introduced something called Inclusion and Diversity Networks at Rexall. And basically what it is, it's a way to support the BIPOC community, so the Black, Indigenous, and people of color. One thing that we did do recently, so I work for a pharmacy company, so we did recently put out a campaign basically where we hire individuals of color from schools, where we're looking directly for people of color, and we do give bursaries to those students as well too, to support their careers. With the inclusion and diversity networks, that's where we kind of come up with these things. So we have meetings on a monthly basis where we think of things like, how can we ensure that we're hiring talent that supports the different minorities within Canada, and what can we do to better support them? What bursaries can we give? and how can we make sure that they succeed when they come into the workforce. So these are all things that our organization is doing. I know other organizations are doing quite a few things now as well too. But we have definitely seen a huge shift when it comes to supporting the Black professionals.
Wow. Wow. As sort of an add-on to that question, Melissa, I wanted to kind of find out, because I know that you had said earlier that you had every job that you have had, you were able to network from it. For those of us that may feel networking is a new experience, or that I would say networking is something they're not used to putting themselves out there, or they feel that they are a bother. What would be the response that you or Mark or Evangeline would give to that?
Yeah, once again, I would say networking is definitely a very good way to get yourself out there. So me personally, I know if someone comes up to me, I'm definitely there and ready to support where I can. And most people are like that. If you just start that conversation, a lot of people are willing to listen. And also, if they can help, they'll help. And if not, they'll keep your contact. Most people are not as scary as you think they are. And I think that's usually what we think of when we're like, oh, I don't want to bother them. It comes from fear. So don't think that going up to someone is going to, they're going to say no. They might say no. And if they say no, that's fine. At least you tried. But I take it as I'd rather try and get rejected than not try at all and think, man, I should have went up to that person. So don't feel like you're bothering anyone. Most people are usually very friendly and ready to talk. And usually when people are in their career, they're passionate about it and are willing to talk about their career as well too. So once again, when I go back to it, I say, don't always rush into a network situation and say, I want a job. Or so start asking questions and get to know that person and make the conversation just be fluid, and keep the contacts. I also want to add as well too, I know back in the day, we used to have like business cards. Maybe you can make a business card, very simple, with just your name, your phone number, and how to contact you. And that's a way to just give it out to people when you meet them. Also, quick email. I know in the virtual world, we don't have the pleasure of always meeting people, but ask someone for their email and just send them a quick email and have your contact details there so that they can reach out to you at any point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just anchor that by just having that tough skin and hanging in there, because you're gonna get it. You're gonna get the yeses and you get some of the no's. But you just got to be confident in who you are, like I said earlier in the conversation. But I just one thing you need to remember is that if you represent yourself of what business you're giving yourself, have everything behind you, like your website has to be on point. Even your Instagram, whatever that is, you can't put the selfies and all those other things within your stream. Your page should be your portfolio of what you're about. If you're giving somebody else about you're there partying, hanging out with your homies, whatever that is, your person that you're trying to sell them out, and they see that and they see your page and what you're about, you might not get that look. So just keep everything consistent and everything about what you're about with your brand. That's the one thing I always keep telling people.
So to kind of piggyback off that, Mark, and I think that's a great point. Would you say that for somebody that's up and coming, do you think it, or like someone for like myself who may not have a lot of background behind me per se, do you think it would be a good idea for me to, if I do already have social media pages, to make a separate page to that would be official towards what my career goals are? Or do you think that having the established base, because some people on their personal page, they have over 1,000 followers, and that may be conducive to the kind of business that they want to put forth. But if they make a personal page without or a more so business related page, do you think that that would be a better idea than to delete the page that's already there, that your followers may already kind of know the content that you have? Or should we kind of keep it together?
No, that's a very good question, because You can have 2 pages. I have 2 pages. I have multiple pages. I have my personal page and I have my business page. It's that persona you have to put on. It's that different hat. Because if I'm in a different environment, I'm not going to give you the happy-go-lucky Mark talk about the Raptors. I'm talking about, if you were talking about business, I'm talking about business. Yeah. So having that separate page that speaks to what I'm all about is what you're going to get. So it's all about the persona, what the mask you're putting on. Because everybody wears masks. Everybody's about to show their best face forward. So it's what you're selling. So having 2 pages, nothing wrong with that. The next trick behind it, your personal page about your followers, sometimes they're not really followers. You got to find the people who really want to support your brand. So send them a personal note, what you're doing. You're transferring your business, and whoever wants to follow, who doesn't, you don't need them. You're like, I don't know, I'm being biblical here. Jesus only had like 12 disciples, right? Start to focus on a network of small people and build that way and grow organically. You don't need 20,000 people, because those 20,000 people don't mean nothing. You just need your core member of people and grow with those numbers of people.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I do have one more question. How comfortable do you think people will feel with networking in person after the pandemic is announced being over? But do you think people will still be comfortable with networking online, or do you think that will kind of migrate back to the in-person style?
Personally, I feel like we have now kind of shifted to a very online world. So I feel like the shifts that we've seen, I don't know. I don't know if maybe I'm wrong, but what I'm feeling right now is that we're probably going to see a lot of more things happening online versus in person. Not to say that in person is not going to be a thing anymore. But definitely, I feel like we're definitely going to see a lot of more networking being done virtually. It really depends on the person, to be honest. It's a hard question to answer. I know some people feel comfortable talking to people still, and some people are like, stay the 6 feet away from me type of thing. So it really depends on the person and what they're comfortable with. But I definitely see us shifting more towards the online.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to chime in?
There's definitely going to be a new way of engagement. Like when you see somebody now, do you give them a handshake? Do you hug them? Oh, that's going to be a deterrent. There is going to be a wall, and if somebody that you know, you may get that, but somebody who's new, that level of engagement is going to get a different approach. So now it's the strategies. How do you get somebody's attention now? Do you want to talk to them? Do you want to sell them what you're about in all aspects of business? So online might be the angle. I think the next part is the emailing. I think that's a tool that people don't really take advantage of just the check-ins, of just letting people know what you're about in your business. It's going to be another important thing of selling yourself. But it's going to be interesting now when you meet people face-to-face or new people. Your old friends are going to be cool. The new ones, I don't know what's going to happen. Do you shake hands? Do you hug a person, give them half a hug? What is this going to happen? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
That's very true. And I mean, even I even found in myself, even with people that I'm close with, they're still a little reluctant. So it's like I can only imagine being able to trying to start business ventures and networking with people in person for the first time. I do have another question. A lot of jobs ask us for 2 years of experience, which I don't really have. So as a recent grad, how would you recommend I get the experience I get the experience that companies are asking for?
I think I said this earlier. I think volunteering, finding an organization that you can align yourself with is the experience you're going to need, because that's going to be your reference letter for building your portfolio for when another job comes. They can be your referral, so they can actually sell you to get that job. So volunteering your free time is going to be, that's the key. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the equity that's going to get you through the door, right? Giving up your time. You know what I mean? And I think I'm all about quotes. Here comes another one, like Mother Teresa. The best place is to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So find the organization that you can be in service of and you just give your all, and you start realizing that is your purpose behind that, right?
Yeah, I just want to add as well too to that question, because I started off same thing. You're like, I have no idea how I'm going to get this job with no experience. But sometimes you actually do have experience and you don't even know. So things you've done in the past, I know when I was getting into HR, I was like, okay, I have no experience. But HR is a very broad field where you do things on a day-to-day basis that you don't realize is actually an HR task. So look at the things you've done in the past. It could be volunteer work. It could be something that you've done on the side. It could be projects that you've worked on in school. Those are all great experiences. It doesn't have to be work related. It can definitely be educational. It could be your day-to-day life where you've picked up on these skills that you can definitely speak to as well too. Also the type of job that you're looking for. Sometimes you may be looking at the wrong job. I know when you first start out, there might be internships that are great. A lot of companies always look for a student, well, not necessarily a student, but someone to come in for maybe like a 6-month contract to support with a startup. And that might be a great fit for you to start off in and progress as you continue to grow as well. So maybe look at the jobs as well too, because a lot of internships don't look for that much experience.
That's well done, Tristan. Thank you, Mark, Melissa. That is really amazing. I wish we have more time to answer more questions. Somebody asked Evangeline, do you know of any additional resources that help support Black professional networking or mentorship? I have to say Black Mentorship Inc. Right? That is actually what we do. The reason why Black Mentorship Inc. exists is to support Black professionals, to connect Black professionals with professionals who look like you, sound like you, who can propel you forward, who can provide you that necessary support, who can provide you the listening ear, because sometimes that's all it takes. But like Melissa, Mark has said, look within your network, people that you went to school with, people that you've always known. Go to LinkedIn, go to social media pages, yes. Email, and I will really encourage all of us to stay connected. These are crucial times, and for us to succeed, we must stick together. We must ensure no Black person is left behind, and the only way we do this is to learn to support one another. To stick together, stay united, reach out. And networking is good, but I will also encourage us, if you see that your friend is not coming, try to pull them with you. Look back and wonder, where is Evangeline? Where is Melissa? Where is Mark? Where is Trista? And pull them along. That's just the only way, really. So I encourage us to stay connected. Follow BMI at our social media pages at Black Mentorship Inc. Let's continue to ignite the conversation around propelling Black success stories. Please tweet Propel Black Success. Let's get everybody talking about how important it is to propel all of us together. It's been a tremendous evening with you all. So thank you. I am your host, Evangeline Chima. I will hand over to you, Leslie.
Thank you so much, Evangeline. Thank you, everyone. My name is Leslie Dean. I'm the alumni manager here at Sheridan College, and I am so honored to kind of give the closing remarks of the evening. We've had such an incredible night of meaningful conversation, and conversations like the one we had here tonight are so critical for all of us to learn and grow. I am a forever learner, and I truly enjoyed hearing from all of you tonight, sharing your stories with us. That's how we all can evolve and grow. And thank you to all of you for sharing that with us tonight. And I hope the conversation will continue, and that everyone will have the chance to talk openly and honestly about the value and the importance of networking and overcoming those barriers that you may be faced with. Even tonight in the chat, I see lots of people connecting and making those connections. So just by attending this event tonight, you're building your network already, and that is amazing. And that's just exactly what we want from these types of events. So to our incredible Sheridan alumni panelists, Mark and Melissa, thank you. I am so proud to welcome you back to our virtual campus. It is such an honor to have you guys join us again tonight. We appreciate you sharing your experiences, your personal stories, and of course, offering advice to our community. I was making all types of notes while you guys were talking, so I appreciate, learning from you guys. It's what this is all about. We truly, truly do have the best alumni, and we appreciate everything you guys do to continuously support Sheridan and our surrounding communities, including BMI. Evangeline, of course, we can't thank you enough for partnering with Sheridan once again on this series. We are so grateful to have your leadership, your knowledge, and your passion shine throughout tonight's conversation. You are such a natural leader, and it's so great to have the opportunity to collaborate with you. And for me personally, I've learned so much from you, and I can't thank you enough for that. Tristan, our student leader, you rocked it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and to help us kick off the event and to assist us with our Q&A component with the audience. You have such great enthusiasm and such a genuine interest in this. We can't wait to see what you do next. You are a leader already, and I'm just so honored to kind of have you on our side and help us with these events. So thank you so much. And of course, a big thank you to everyone at home who tuned in and joined us. We're so grateful to have you part of our community and staying connected with us, especially in this crazy virtual world. We do these events for you, and we hope you guys all had the opportunity to learn. So thank you. So basically, just be sure to visit Sheridan or BMI's websites for more events like the one we had tonight. We will be hosting our next series, our Blacks Conversation Career Series, in October. So stay tuned for that. We hope all of you will come back. Or if you're in the audience and you're thinking, I want to be a panelist, please let us know. We're, as you guys said tonight in your conversation, volunteering is key. So this is a great opportunity for you to volunteer. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening. And thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. Take care.
Yeah, and don't forget to fill the survey. We're going to be sending that out. So
right, yes. So in the next couple of days, you'll be getting a thank you email from us with a survey. And we really encourage you to fill out that survey. We want to know your feedback on these types of events and what we can do better and how we can elevate the program even more. So definitely fill out that survey, please. Take care, everyone. Thanks again.
And thank you, Leslie. You are awesome. You rock. Thank you.
Thank you.